When Genshin Impact won Best Mobile Game at the Game Awards in 2021, it signaled something important. This was not just a successful mobile title. It was a Chinese-developed game being recognized on one of the most visible global stages in the industry. Since its launch in 2020, Genshin Impact generated over $1 billion in mobile revenue within its first year. By 2022, industry estimates suggested it had surpassed $4 billion in total global revenue. More importantly, it built a massive international player base across China, Japan, the United States, and Europe, demonstrating that its appeal was truly global. But what makes HoYoverse significant is not just financial performance. It's the way the company built that success through long-term storytelling, cinematic production values, and a live service structure that keeps players emotionally invested over time. Today, I want to analyze HoYoverse not simply as a profitable company, but as a company that represents a new type of global game studio, one that blends creative ambition with commercial scale. HoYoverse, originally MiHoYo, was founded in 2012 in Shanghai by Liu Wei and Kai Haoyu. It began as a small university startup focused on anime-style games. Over the next decade, it expanded internationally and now operates under the global brand HoYoverse, with a structure serving both domestic and overseas markets. In just over 10 years, it has grown into one of the most recognizable names in anime-inspired gaming worldwide. We can understand its development through 4 major titles. First, Honkai Impact 3rd, released in 2016. This mobile action RPG established the company's character-driven monetization model and built a loyal fan base, particularly in China and Japan. Second, Genshin Impact, released in 2020. This was the breakthrough moment. An open-world RPG available on mobile, PC, and PlayStation, it reportedly surpassed $4 billion in revenue within 2 years. It showed that a free-to-play anime-style game could compete globally at a scale comparable to major AAA titles. Third, Honkai Star Rail, released in 2023. This turn-based RPG generated over $100 million in mobile revenue within its first month, proving that HoYoverse's model was not a one-time success. Most recently, Zenless Zone Zero, launched in 2024, expanded the company's portfolio into a new urban fantasy setting, reinforcing its multi-title ecosystem strategy. Across all of these releases, the company maintains a consistent approach: strong character design, cinematic storytelling, and frequent content updates that encourage long-term engagement. HoYoverse primarily targets a global audience influenced by anime culture. Its games run across PC, mobile, and console platforms using a free-to-play live service model. Instead of selling a single product, the company focuses on retaining players over time. Today, HoYoverse is widely regarded as one of the most successful global gacha-based IP developers, with strong revenue presence in Japan, the United States, and Europe. It competes directly with Tencent, NetEase, and major Japanese gacha studios. I selected this company because it demonstrates how storytelling, aesthetics, and monetization can be integrated into a scalable global strategy. SWOT analysis. Strengths. One of HoYoverse's greatest strengths is creative consistency. Across different titles, players immediately recognize the visual style, tone, and world-building approach. That consistency builds brand identity and long-term loyalty. Second, the company invests heavily in production value. Its games feature original orchestral soundtracks, multilingual voice acting, and animated story sequences. These are costly decisions, but they significantly enhance the experience. Third, HoYoverse excels at serialized storytelling. Stories unfold gradually over months and years, encouraging emotional attachment to characters and worlds. Finally, the financial results prove scalability. Generating billions in revenue demonstrates that this model works at a global level. Weaknesses. The biggest weakness is heavy reliance on gacha monetization. Revenue depends on limited character releases, which creates constant pressure to introduce new content. Second, production costs are extremely high. Maintaining cinematic quality across multiple live service titles requires ongoing investment. Third, long-running narratives risk losing focus over time. As content expands, sustaining emotional depth becomes more challenging. There is also a concentration of revenue in mobile platforms, increasing exposure to shifts in the mobile gaming market. Opportunities. There are several clear opportunities. HoYoverse can expand further into cross-media ventures such as animation, concerts, and merchandise. Its global fan base makes this expansion realistic. The company could continue evolving into a broader entertainment brand rather than remaining primarily a game studio. Emerging markets and additional platform growth also provide room for expansion. As of 2026, HoYoverse faces several structural challenges. First, regulatory pressure around gacha systems is increasing, especially in the US and Europe. Discussions focus on transparency and youth protection. This matters because Genshin Impact has generated over $6.4 billion in total mobile revenue by September 2025, meaning any regulatory shift could impact a very large revenue base. Second, player fatigue is becoming more visible in live service markets. With many high-production gacha titles competing for the same audience, player time and spending are increasingly fragmented, making long-term revenue less predictable. Third, competition has intensified since 2024. Titles like Wuthering Waves replicate the open-world anime RPG model, while Tencent and NetEase continue investing in large-scale RPG projects. HoYoverse's early advantage is no longer as strong as it once was. Fourth, rising production costs create additional pressure. Cinematic storytelling and global voice acting strengthen the brand, but they also increase fixed costs. If growth slows, margins may tighten. Looking at the broader competition landscape, Tencent remains dominant in scale, NetEase continues global expansion, and Japanese publishers maintain strong character-driven franchises. Meanwhile, newer studios target the same anime-style open-world segment. Despite this, HoYoverse still differentiates itself through emotional narrative continuity, strong visual identity, and a growing multi-IP ecosystem. In 2026, the key question is sustainability. HoYoverse has already proven it can create multi-billion-dollar success. The challenge now is whether that live service model can remain resilient under tighter regulation, rising costs, and stronger competition. Global recognition began in 2021. The real test is whether that success can last.